It's been a hard day's night, and I've been working like a dog.
Are you ready to get down to business? Join seasoned entrepreneur, community leader, and Army veteran Scott Shalom Klein, who will take you behind the scenes with those who work in America's small business scene and speak with leaders making an impact, creating jobs, and telling their story in entrepreneurship. So let's get down to business. On AM 560, The Answer, here's your host, Shalom Klein.
And indeed, we're all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship and business. We talk a lot about business here on with Get Down to Business. And I'm your host, Shalom Klein. Remember, you can always download podcasts on my website at syklein.com. And while you're there, don't forget to follow me on Twitter at Shalom Klein. It's going to be a jam-packed week of content and information you will not want to miss. Truly jam-packed. I'm super excited for all of our guests today, but super excited to kick off our conversation today with amazing realtor and returning guest, subject matter expert on real estate, I should say, Laura Catrambone-Gerace. And Laura is with Coldwell Banker. And I feel like we've gotten to know you on the air so well, Laura, that I'm going to say you've been doing this for so long and you are so entrenched in what you do. You even have an AOL email address, and that's a point of pride for you, isn't it?
It is. Yep. My first email address. I'm not getting rid of it.
Well, I love it. And you have such a loyal base of clientele that they know you and they know, again, that you've been doing this for so long. You know what you're doing. I know you pride yourself on your relationships with your clients, your relationships in the community and so on, which is absolutely wonderful. So before we dive in, and I've got a lot of important questions for you about the real estate market in just a moment, but Laura, just refresh our listeners' memory. Tell us a little bit about your office and the geographic area that you service.
So my office was started with my father, my cousin, and my cousin's best friend. So we're very family orientated. And unfortunately, I just lost Carol, who was the last founding partner of the three of them. So we just, so now it's all me. I grew up in Westchester, which is where my office is. I pretty much serve Cook County and DuPage as my main areas. I have actually sold property as far as Galena, but mostly I stick around here.
Well, fantastic. And I know, again, in all of your communities, they know how committed you are to your clients. And frankly, your clients are committed to you. And truly a legacy. So Laura, it's always great to have you back on the program, sharing your expertise and your passion for what you do, and it bleeds through even on the airwaves. So speaking of, again, passion, you've been doing this for a while and you've seen the ups and downs in real estate. We're having this conversation, and now the latter half of 2023, this past few years has been a roller coaster in the real estate world. We've watched interest rates, we've watched inflation, we've watched everything under the sun. But Laura, can you tell us and tell our listeners, where are we in the real estate market today? And take out that crystal ball, where are we going?
Sure. So, a lot of people are still a little bit weary, maybe concerned. They think like the real estate market still has a possibility of tanking like it did back in, I can't even remember the years because it's a blur to me, but I can tell you with very much certainty that is not the case. And a lot of the reason that that's not the case is people don't understand that currently across the United States, 1/3 of homeowners actually own their properties outright. They have no mortgage. 1/3, which is big. The other third has more than 50% of equity in their properties. So we only have another third that are less than 50% equity. So the market is not going to tank. The prices are not going to drop. It's just not going to happen. Now, you will see a little bit of a fluctuation, which is normal. It's seasonal. So you may see a little bit of prices coming down because we're entering the fall market, which ultimately means that we're entering the winter market. And yes, properties will come down in price during that time. but not a lot, not a lot to really make an impact. And then, boom, we're back in the spring market in 2024. Now, a lot of the gurus that are in a much higher pay scale than me, one of them being Dr. Lewin Jung, who is the CFO of the National Association of Realtors. He's also an economist, and he's incredibly brilliant. If you follow him, he basically will tell you that we're probably going to see one more increase in interest rate. And then in 2024, we're going to see 2 or 3 drops, which will stimulate the market again. We also are still living in a very low inventory. And so low inventory, even if you are at mediocre demand, is still going to make it a seller's market, and we're still going to have the prices of the properties holding their value because of basic economic supply and demand.
They hear about a strong market. They hear about challenges in the market, but certainly you have demystified the topic. Laura, I am curious to talk about the Chicagoland area in particular. A lot of folks have heard that during the pandemic, folks have migrated out of big cities, and I'm curious what you are seeing specifically in the suburban market around the Chicagoland area. Are you seeing a migration in or out, and any trends that you could share with our listeners would be super helpful.
So the migration out to the suburbs is a normal migration out. Now, during the pandemic, you may have seen a little bit more or whatever, but that's all gone now. And now we're just back to just normal. And what normal is that, you know, the millennials and whatever, everybody wants to live in the city and, you know, be close to restaurants and bars and fun stuff to do. And then you get married and then you have a child or two. And most of the time when that happens, they move out to the suburbs. It's just what happens. And some will stay, but most of them will move into the suburbs. But while they're moving into the suburbs, then you have the kids graduating from college and they're all moving back into the city. So it's just a cyclical, normal flow is really what it is. And not much has changed there. It's pretty much back to normal as far as in and out.
Ain't that music to our ears? Back to normal indeed. That's great news. Again, I'm chatting with the guru on everything real estate. That's Laura Catrambone-Gerace, who is with Coldwell Banker and truly has an exceptional relationship with her clients, that they have weathered the storm, again, buying and selling homes, which is just fantastic. So Laura, you know, we alluded to this in the beginning of the show with your email address. Again, you've been doing this for quite a while. Where is your office actually located, and who's the ideal person or families that need to reach out to you? Where's your sort of sweet spot and area of expertise?
So my sweet spot is really like the just western suburbs, just west of pretty much the city. So Oak Park, River Forest, Forest Park, LaGrange Park, Brookfield, Westchester, Western Springs. It's that whole Brookfield. I don't remember if I said that. North Riverside. All of these western suburbs are pretty close together, and I know them very well. I grew up here, so you know, pretty much know them by the back of my hand. And then, you know, do I go into DuPage? Absolutely. I've got people. You know, I'm showing them in Yorkville and Bolingbrook and, you know, that sort of thing as well. But my sweet spot is more western suburbs, Cook County. And my office actually is in Westchester, Cermak and Manheim. I'm just off of Cermak.
Absolutely.
Manheim, which are pretty major streets.
Absolutely. Well, Laura, I could talk to you for hours, and I look forward to our next conversation. But Laura, we're going to have to leave it there because we're going to get cut off by commercial. But I want to make sure our listeners know where they can reach you your office and your team, how can they do that?
My cell phone is the best, to be honest, 708-212-4905. And again, our office is 10555 West Sturmack Road in Westchester.
Fantastic. And do you want to share that amazing AOL email address one last time?
Sure. S like Sam, P like Peter, Laura, LAURA at AOL.com.
Fantastic. Laura Catrambone-Gerace, thank you so much for joining us on the program. I look forward to having you back on real soon. Quick break. We'll be right back and get down to business. Don't touch that dial.